Hi everybody, my name is Daniela Marquina Cuevas and I'm going to do my presentation about my project experience on Monarch School. So description of my project, who did I volunteer for? I volunteered for Monarch School. The goal of this school is to provide a learning environment for K through 12 students who are homeless. The school mission is to give their students the tools and skills necessary to overcome the obstacles that come with being homeless. To the school, these obstacles include physical problems, psychological problems, safety fears, and academic struggles. Overall, Monarch helps students become contributing and successful members of their families and society. So the description of my project is the what and the how. Throughout my volunteer experience, I tutored students and helped them with one of their biggest class projects. I accomplished my goals by developing a connection with the students. According to the teacher I volunteer for, these students are accustomed to people coming in and out of their life, so they needed someone who was constantly at the school giving them help. This is why I began to volunteer every Monday and Friday for 3 hours a day with the same group of students. I also shared my struggles of being undocumented and how that has affected me throughout my life. However, I also shared that I have learned to overcome the struggles and the struggles that have crossed my life. Throughout my volunteer experience, I tutored the students in various subjects, but I focused in English and math because this is where the students were struggling the most. So, more on the how, I really wanted to focus on relating back to the students and showing them that, there are these struggles that you come near to when you're growing up, especially in their situation. However, they do have the opportunity now to overcome these struggles and move forward with their dreams. So I just wanted to prove to them that it is possible and that they have the support system that they need in order for them to pursue a higher education. So the when and where of my project. The timeline of my project took place from February to May. However, I think that I will be volunteering more at this school now that the class is going to be over. This is because I do want the students to continue to see my face, and I feel like I've connected with them and built that relationship that I don't just want to suddenly leave them. So I definitely think that I will be volunteering a lot more often at this school, now that school's going to be over as well. My project took place in Monarch School, and it's located near Barrio Logan, um, near Chipcano Park, and I primarily tutored high school students and fourth grade students. The why of my project. The purpose of my project was to help the students at Monarch School see the importance of an education and help them improve in academic areas where they're struggling. Overall, I wanted to prove to the students that it is possible to overcome the struggles they are facing. This is important because many of these students expressed to me that they feel like society has given up on them. The students have also expressed that they are struggling simply to get a high school diploma and aren't thinking about achieving a higher level of education. It's important to demonstrate to these students that they have the capability to go beyond a high school education. A lot of these students' families have to think about, shelter and food and medical attention and other resources that they need to live on in life. However, academics may not be put on the forefront of their priority list because there's other things that need to be taken care of. But it's important to show these students that they do have another support system outside of their families that can solely focus on academics and that truly care about them moving forward and receiving the education that they really need. The most valuable things I learned during my experience, number one, although I have more life experience than these students, I've seen them have to mature at a younger age because of the demands their everyday life brings them. However, they continue to persist through adversities and bring a positive attitude to school every day. They taught me that as long as you continue to move forward, nothing is too large to overcome. Usually when I stepped into the classroom, I was ready for students to, talk about their day before, and a lot of them talked about how, last night they didn't have anything to eat, or they just really don't know where they're going to live tonight or where they're going to stay. And, as young as these students are, I've never personally experienced the need to have food on the table, or fear not having food on the table or not having shelter. However, when they came to school, as soon as they stepped into the classroom, they were ready to learn and were honestly just really eager to move forward. And that, to me, just shows how much they themselves want to overcome the struggles that they're facing. These children also showed me how important it is to have a support system and a mentor who is always willing to lend a helping hand. When I first began to volunteer, many of these students didn't know the importance of a college education. However, with me constantly explaining my college experience, many of them are starting to become more interested in college. I took the time to actually give them a tour of SDSU. Not all of them, but some of them were able to come to SDSU, and I was able to give them a tour, and they honestly were very happy just looking at the university and knowing that this was something that, this was somewhere they can someday attend if they really worked hard for it. Going off this point, I also learned how important it is for these students to have teachers who are genuinely passionate about their education. So the teachers that I volunteered for both always brought a positive attitude to the room, and they were there for the students genuinely, not just as an educator but also as a friend and a support system that they could confide in. She helped them, counsel them through a lot of things going on in their life, and the students genuinely were able to open up to them. And to me, I think that's the most important part of being a teacher, just having that positive attitude all the time and being there for your students. So I honestly learned the importance of what it takes to be an educator. The most impactful experience that I had, well, the class that I'm currently volunteering in is a Spanish class. Throughout the time that I volunteered, the teacher taught her students about Cesar Chavez and how he advocated for field workers. After watching various films and reading texts, the students were able to go on a trip to the fields. During the visit to their fields, they were able to interview the field workers and field owners. When they returned, the students created a documentary about the field workers they interviewed. By doing this, the students were able to become advocates. This was an impactful experience because I saw how passionate the students were about this topic. They were motivated to learn and do their part to show others what working in the fields is like. So a lot of us haven't experienced what working in the fields is, but these students actually got to go to the fields and experience what it's like to be in the fields and what they have to do on a day-to-day basis. And so a lot of them came back and said this was a really eye-opening experience, and they wanted to advocate for the field workers to ensure that they did receive the rights that they had as workers, and inform other students about how hard it is to work on the fields. Here on the bottom, you can see the meeting was a very one-on-one basis. There were very little students there, and they were able to get attention that they needed to learn how to operate this technology right here. They were able to use different cameras and recording devices. In this picture, you can see the students actually setting up the cameras and the devices that they're going to use to record. So this was all very hands-on, and genuinely it was an eye-opening experience. I told the students that they need to use this as a voice for the field workers that don't get to have a voice on their own. So I think it was a good experience for them to go out and actually experience what it's like to work in the fields. Now I would like to show a video of the trailer that the students made for their documentary. They haven't finished the complete film, but I would just like to give you a little taste of what they got to experience.
Five students from Monarch High School went to the fields to get an experience of a lifetime. Farm workers in Calexico, California get up around 4 o'clock a.m. 6 days out of the week to work in the fields.
David. He trabajado en el campo pues, de joven, pero aquí en Estados Unidos comencé a trabajar en el 67, el 67. Pues veníamos según pues, a estudiar, estábamos jóvenes en ese tiempo, pero no se pudo. Por eso ya ir a la escuela, me dediqué a trabajar.
Marta. Agarramos un cuchillo, vean que el cuchillo ya está en agua con cloro. Entonces, ya tenemos nuestros guantes puestos, vean, y ya, entonces, pues se agacha uno, mueve poquito la lechuga, le mete el cuchillo y ya el cuchillo corta la lechuga, le limpias el tronquito para que esté limpio y le quitas las hojas que están sucias, vean, y la embolsas. La pones en la canasta, que está la empacadora lista para enteipar la lechuga. Ya que está enteipada, la ponen en la caja y la van acomodando. 24 lechugas en la caja. La mandan al riel y está el cajero listo para cerrar la caja. Entonces el cajero se la pone al cargador. El cargador la acomoda donde va a ir.
So that was just a little taste of the trailer and what the kids got to experience. So what I learned about Monarch School and my take-home message. During my volunteer work at Monarch School, I learned that this school is a community within itself. The teachers here provide a huge support system for their students, and the students provide a support system for their teachers. Together, they've helped each other pass any obstacles and have learned a lot from one another. Monarch School definitely lives up to their goals. The biggest take-home message about my volunteer experience is that regardless of where you go, you can always immerse yourself into a new culture and be a support system for individuals who need it. Since I was part of the alternative section for this class, I didn't get to travel abroad. However, I was able to give back to my own community, and honestly, it was incredibly rewarding. Therefore, I want everyone to know that you don't have to travel abroad to immerse yourself in a new culture or to make a change, especially since we live in such a culturally diverse city. Thank you.